We've watched a double-sided crisis for many hospitals in Southeast Michigan, often overwhelmed both logistically and certainly emotionally by COVID-19, but at the same time financially savaged by the downturn in other varieties of health care, which has meant cutbacks and layoffs. Very happy to have with us John Fox, the president and CEO of Beaumont Health. John, I so appreciate your time today. I trust you're well. I want to talk to you first about this. I think the surprise that when we first heard that our hospitals were going to have to lay people off, I don't think anybody had a clue that our healthcare system was so reliant on elective procedures.
Yeah, Devin, that's exactly the case. I mean, what happened is when we needed to stop elective surgeries, which we needed to do from a public health standpoint, and dedicate so much of our system and our hospitals to COVID-19, we basically lost about 40% of our revenue. So for Beaumont Health, in just 2 weeks in March that we had COVID patients, we lost $75 million. And frankly, right now we're tracking to lose about $150 million in the month of April before you get to some of the federal money that we may be getting.
Well, and when you think, obviously you don't know exactly what's coming there, but can you even break even on the COVID care that you've given?
No, you really cannot. I mean, it's extremely expensive to take care of these patients. They require a lot of nursing care. We had to expand our number of ICUs by 40% and went up to about 750 critical care beds across Beaumont Health. That was very costly. The medications, the ventilators, and again, they're replacing much more higher revenue yield surgeries that we discontinued. So our surgeries dropped 80 to 90%. That was replaced by COVID-19 medical patients that were much lower revenue per patient, but not that much lower in costs.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to talk about where we are right now. You provided a graphic that I'm looking at the moment that kind of shows this initial surge, this big red area that we see on the graphic that was about the initial 2 months. We've moved into the yellow warning zone, ongoing treatment, which is sort of this new normal as it's put on the graphic. But this is sobering because that yellow zone lasts 12 to 24 months.
Right here in Southeast Michigan, the way I explain it to our employees and physicians and others and our board is we have gone through the initial surge, what I call the red zone, where we went from 0 to 1,200 patients in about 3 weeks at Beaumont Health. It was like nothing I've ever experienced in my 40 years in healthcare. We are now coming down from our peak of 1,200. Today, we're at about 520 inpatients, COVID-19 inpatients across Beaumont Health. We have more medical surgical patients, not COVID-19 patients, than we do COVID-19. But we're going to plateau for the next 12 to 24 months with continuing to take care of COVID-19 patients because they're going to continue to be present and frankly omnipresent throughout our community and throughout our state at some level until after a year or two we get to what we call the green zone, out of the yellow caution zone, if you will. And in the green zone, we will have an event called a vaccine. But the challenge with the vaccine is once we have one, and sooner is better than later, it needs to be produced for billions of doses and then distributed to billions of people around the world. Now, I hope Michigan and the rest of us in the United States get it as fast as we can. But this is on a size and scale that we've never seen in really healthcare, global health in the world or in the United States.
The next question I have for you is going to seem politically charged. It's certainly financially charged, but I think it's a fair time to talk about this. If we had a national or more universal healthcare system right now, wouldn't it be easier if if patient records, if everything was sort of centralized rather than right now all of our disparate pieces all over the place trying to fight something like a pandemic? Is that a fair argument to make?
Well, there's no doubt that the disaggregation of American healthcare certainly didn't help us with this. We went through our own version of this in Michigan and Southeast Michigan. because our ability to coordinate the giant influx of these patients between and amongst hospitals in those first 3-4 weeks was really limited. And we had to work a lot with the governor and her teams on how to get information collected, and then also make sure that we were helping each other out with respect to that onslaught. And that was something of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Going to universal health care or that kind of a system creates a whole bunch of other political questions. But with respect to COVID-19, we have a lot of work to do if we're going to make our current system be able to function in this pandemic, and maybe more importantly, given the reality of biology, what will be future pandemics, or at least the risk of them.
The next one, exactly right. Fascinating conversation. John, we so admire what you and so many of your employees have been going through. I so appreciate you giving us some time today. Best of luck going forward. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for letting us share our story with you.
You bet. Back with more on Flashpoint right after this.